Hey guys, tonight we're slipping into silk shoes, dodging porcelain stairs, and trying to survive a single day in the most gilded prison in human history, the Forbidden City. You've been sold, cut, silenced, and reshaped welcome to the life of a court eunuch. The walls are 30 feet high, the corridors echo with whispered betrayal, and every smile hides a blade. You probably won't survive this. You start your morning with shackled feet and a burlap sack over your head. The wagon rocks through the outskirts of Beijing, and the air smells like frost and dung. You're 11, maybe 12, who knows anymore? Your father says this is your big chance, the family's only ticket to food for the winter. Your mother didn't speak a word last night, just cried into your hair and pressed a copper coin into your palm. That coin is gone now, taken by the man who inspected your teeth like a butcher checks pigs. When the sack is finally lifted, you're standing in a courtyard paved with stone so cold it burns. Around you are 10 other boys, some crying, some already numb. One is praying. He's the first one they take. You hear a voice, smooth and crisp like lacquerware. Welcome to the Eastern Depot. Obedience is your only virtue now. That's not advice. It's a sentence. You're in the hands of the imperial court, and you won't leave until you're dead or forgotten. You get assigned a number, not a name. Then you're herded into a holding cell. There's no straw to sleep on, just damp stone. A man with a white robe and red belt walks through the bars, pointing at boys like choosing ingredients from a market stall. When his finger lands on you, you don't even flinch. You know better now. Historians still argue whether boys were truly selected for beauty, docility, or family connections. You wouldn't know. All you know is you're next. As you follow the red belt through winding halls, you pass other eunuchs, some young, some old, none smiling. They don't look at you. They've learned the danger of eye contact. One slips you a glance, though. Just one. His eyes say what no one dares. Run, if you can. The room you're taken into is too clean. There's a raised wooden bench, 2 ceramic bowls, and a woman stirring something in a pot. She doesn't look at you. You're not supposed to be real to her. Just another task. You're told to drink. You hesitate for a second. A hand slaps you across the cheek so hard your ears ring. You drink. It's bitter and sharp. Opium, probably. Your fingers go cold. Your chest feels light. The man in the white robe returns with a blade in one hand and a tightly folded cloth in the other. You are stripped, held down, and told to bite the cloth. You obey. This part you'll never remember clearly. Only the screaming. You don't even know if it was yours. The blade moves, blood follows, and your world fractures. A pain so deep it untethers your soul. You pass out. When you wake up, you're bandaged. Not well. Just enough to stop the bleeding. You can't move without fire ripping through your legs and belly. You cry without tears. Your body has forgotten how to weep. You're no longer a boy, not yet a man. Just something in between. There is a superstition in the outer provinces that the first night after the cut determines your whole fate. If you survive till morning, you'll live long. If not, your ghost joins the wall spirits. You're not sure which one you want to be. Next to you lies another boy, still unconscious. You can't tell if he's breathing. No one checks. One dies, another replaces him. That's the rhythm here. The woman from before reappears with a bowl of rice gruel and a warning. Don't move too much or you'll tear the stitches and rot. She places the bowl on the floor, not within reach. That's not her job. You drag yourself toward it, inch by inch, body trembling, bile rising. You eat with your hands, smearing it on your face like a starving dog, because you are one now. That's what they've made you. By the second night, your fever breaks. Or maybe it doesn't. You don't know what's real anymore. The shadows whisper and the air tastes like copper. You dream of screaming, but your mouth doesn't move. 3 days later, you're still alive. And that, strangely, is seen as an achievement. One in five doesn't make it past the third night. You don't know why you did. Maybe luck. Maybe spite. You're handed a bundle of rags and told to follow a boy named Lee. He's older, faster, and has no patience. Keep up or they'll think you're defective. That's the only advice he gives. As you limp behind him through the maze of corridors, the sun never touches your skin. The forbidden city is all shadow and silence. You hear footsteps but never voices. Smell incense and rot in equal parts. You pass by a hall where eunuchs are kneeling in rows, chanting rules under their breath. Lee says you'll be joining them soon. For now, you're still healing. You think of home, of your mother's face. You can't picture it anymore, only the copper coin. And that's how your first day ends. Broken, bandaged, and nameless in the greatest palace the world has ever known. A palace where every brick holds a secret and every day might be your last. You wake up gasping. The bandages around your waist are soaked and not with water. Your body screams every time you try to sit up. A boy a few mats away vomits into a bucket. Another moans for his mother. The smell of infection is already in the air. You quickly learn not to look at your wounds too closely. The ones who do tend to unravel. An older eunuch enters the infirmary, walking with a slow, practiced rhythm. His face is blank, unreadable. He doesn't speak until everyone falls silent. Then he says, "The pain is your new skin. Wear it well." You're not sure if it's meant to be comforting or threatening, probably both. He reads a list of names, none of them yours. That's good. Those names are carried away on stretchers, never to return. One boy tries to speak out, to beg. A guard strikes him with the flat side of a bamboo stick. His mouth fills with blood. The rest of you go quiet. You're assigned a wooden bucket and a rag. Your job today is to clean a corridor near the servants' latrine. You still can't stand properly. So you crawl, scrub, crawl again. Every time you move, pain shoots from your hips into your chest. It doesn't matter. If you stop, a whip reminds you. You pass a mirror. You catch a glimpse of yourself. Pale, sunken eyes, lips cracked, ribs visible. You look like someone pulled from a grave and asked to keep going. There's a superstition that if a eunuch sees his reflection before the bleeding stops, his soul gets trapped in the mirror. You cover your eyes, just in case. Scrubbing floors is one thing. Scrubbing chamber pots is worse. You're not allowed to look directly at the concubines, but one of them kicks over a pot and tells you to clean it twice. Her dog watches you the whole time. Even it seems to outrank you. The rules are endless. Never turn your back to a noble. Never eat until everyone else is done. Never speak unless spoken to. Never raise your eyes past someone's shoes. One boy forgets this. He glances up at a junior consort walking by. He's gone by sunset. Historians still argue whether these punishments were codified or carried out based on mood. Some say the empress set the tone. Others blame powerful eunuch cliques. You just know fear keeps everyone moving. By midday, you're dizzy. A senior eunuch with heavy perfume inspects your work. He says nothing, just gestures to a fresh bucket. You bow so low your nose hits the floor. In the afternoon, you are given a rest. This means you're allowed to sit in a shaded corner for 10 minutes. A boy next to you whispers, "Drink slowly." If you drink too fast, you'll vomit and they'll make you lick it up. You listen. He's not wrong. He introduces himself as Yao. He's been in the palace 3 years. You ask him how he lasted that long. He says, "I stopped hoping." Yao explains the pecking order. Eunuchs assigned to the kitchens get scraps. Those in the laundry steal heat during winters. The ones who work for consorts sometimes earn favor, but also risk sudden death. You're bottom tier. Waste detail, general cleaning, and occasional beatings. At sunset, the sky turns blood orange. You're still on your knees, still scrubbing. A bell chimes 7 times. It's the signal for transition. You and the others form a line. No talking, no eye contact. Everyone limps or shuffles. You pass through the western courtyard where richer eunuchs have private quarters. Their robes are silk, their shoes have padding, and they speak with affected accents. They don't look at you either, but you feel the judgment in their silence. One of them, short and round-faced, snorts as you pass. "New cuts," he says. "Hope they last." Another laughs. You're brought back to the holding dormitory. It's barely better than a shed. You sleep on straw that smells of mold and sweat. Before sleeping, a supervisor counts heads and gives a short prayer to the palace gods. May the emperor's light keep your heart empty and your hands clean. Yao mutters, more like empty stomachs and broken fingers. You don't laugh. You're too tired. The lights are snuffed out. You lie down and try to find a position that doesn't feel like knives. You fail. Sleep drags you under anyway, rough and heavy. Outside, somewhere far in the Forbidden City, drums beat to mark the emperor's tea. You'll never be allowed to see him. Most eunuchs never do. And yet, every minute of your life will be spent ensuring his world stays perfect. You wake up before the sun, not because someone calls you, but because your body now knows better. The cold bites through the straw mat and stiffens your joints. Yao nudges you. Hurry, the latrine shift starts before the bell. You stumble out with the rest of the youngest eunuchs. No breakfast. Just tepid water from a shared basin and a splash on the face to remind you you're still breathing. Outside, the sky is purple-gray. The palace looms like a dragon made of silence. Your first task, empty the night pots. You carry them carefully, arms shaking under the sloshing weight. The stench is so strong your eyes water. Another boy retches and gets smacked on the back of the head. You keep yours down, mouth clenched. As you dump the contents into a pit, you see a rat the size of a cat dart past. The other boys barely react. You'll get used to that too. The work is endless. Scrub floors, polish door frames, refill oil lamps, sweep fallen petals that the wind has blown into the concubines' courtyard. You're not allowed to touch the petals with your hands. Use tongs. Everything here has rules. Even the trash. Around noon, a surprise, you're called out of the rotation. A senior eunuch, face powdered, lips pinched, points at you. You, come. That's all he says. The others stare. Yao whispers, "Be careful. That's Chief Wu." Chief Wu's quarters are warm and scented with sandalwood. There's lacquer furniture, porcelain vases, and a golden screen painted with cranes. You stand frozen, unsure whether to bow. "Sit," he says. You kneel instead. Good choice. He watches you a long time. Then he speaks softly. "You're quiet. That's good." He asks your name. Not your number. You give it. He nods. "You will serve in the outer laundry, for now. This is not a promotion. But it's not a death sentence either." Historians still argue whether Chief Wu was a cruel manipulator or a careful survivor. You will form your own opinion soon enough. In the laundry yard, steam rises like ghosts. Elder eunuchs stir boiling water with long paddles. You are shown how to fold, rinse, fold again. Your hands blister in the first hour. The soap burns through broken skin. You bite your tongue and continue. The older workers test you. One splashes hot water near your feet. Another tells you to scrub a robe that's already clean. You obey. That's the game. Survive long enough, and they might stop noticing you. By evening, you have learned a few things. 1. Never complain. 2. Never outshine. 3. Always leave a corner of a robe imperfect so the next eunuch can correct it and feel superior. There's a boy named Shen, maybe 15, who sings while he works. At first it seems brave, then foolish. By the third verse, an overseer throws a ladle at him. "Silence is the roof of loyalty," he says. You never hear Shen sing again. Dinner is thin millet porridge with a strand of vegetable if you're lucky. You eat quickly, not for taste, but to keep your spot near the warm wall. The fire there is small, but real. In the Forbidden City, warmth is currency. That night, as you lie down, Yao whispers, "Do not speak to Chief Wu again unless he calls you." You nod. You already understand. In this place, every kindness is a test. Somewhere beyond the courtyard, a gong tolls. Someone in the inner palace has died. Maybe a concubine, maybe just a servant. No one says who. Death here is as common as breath and usually quieter. You think about your name, the one Chief Wu asked for. It feels strange in your mouth now, like a memory of someone else. You close your eyes, hoping for dreamless sleep. Instead, you see petals falling again, not from wind, from someone's hand. You are no longer the newest eunuch in the laundry yard. A boy even smaller than you arrives, silent and shaking. They assign him to boiling duty. He burns his hand in the first hour. No one helps. You remember the same treatment. You say nothing. This is how the hierarchy stays intact. Your body still hurts, but the pain is duller now, like a bruise buried under routine. You've learned to move just fast enough not to draw attention, to scrub without splashing, to nod without speaking. You begin to notice the sounds of the palace more clearly, bells ringing at intervals, signaling meals you'll never eat. The shuffle of silk robes across polished stone. The quick, nervous steps of servants trying to disappear before a noble sees them. Chief Wu appears again in the afternoon. He doesn't speak to you, just watches. He is always watching. You don't look back. That evening, an announcement. 3 eunuchs from the laundry are being reassigned to serve the Dowager Empress. Everyone falls silent. Serving her is both honor and hazard. If she favors you, your life changes. If you annoy her, your life ends. Your name is not called. You feel something like relief, but also something bitter, maybe shame, maybe envy. Later, Yao tells you a story. The last boy she chose spilled tea on her sleeve. She smiled, then had him strangled with the same robe. She liked the symmetry. Historians still argue whether these accounts are exaggerated court gossip or chilling truth. You believe them, because you've seen that smile from nobles before. It never reaches the eyes. That night, your hand bleeds from a cut you didn't feel during work. You wrap it with cloth and hide it. Injuries are seen as weakness. Weakness invites reassignment, or worse. In the dead of night, you're woken by whispering. Shen is crouched by the door. "I know a passage," he says. "Out, through the storage hall. I saw it once." You stare at him. He looks serious, desperate, maybe insane. You whisper, "Why are you telling me?" He shrugs. "You're quiet. I thought maybe you want to be more than a mop with a face." The next morning, Shen is gone. No one mentions him. His mat is taken by another boy by evening. You never find out whether he escaped or was caught. In the Forbidden City, disappearance is just another silence. By your second week, you can tell the time by scent. The smell of boiled rice means dawn. The sharp tang of vinegar used in mopping floors marks mid-morning. When the jasmine incense burns, it's nearly sunset. Routine is your shield now. You move from task to task without thinking, like water flowing over stone. Emotion has become dangerous. Thought, even more so. Today, you're pulled from laundry detail. A scroll arrives bearing the seal of the Dowager Empress's Chamberlain. Chief Wu reads it and glances at you. She wants new hands, soft ones. Yours will do. Your stomach knots. Yao doesn't say anything. He just gives you a glance. It's not pity. It's resignation. They scrub you thoroughly, as if dirt could shame the Empress. Your robe is replaced with a cleaner one. Your hair is re-oiled. Your hands, despite their scars, are perfumed. You're not a person. You're a utility, freshly polished. You are led through 5 gates, each larger than the last. Guards don't make eye contact. Birds scatter ahead of you like they know something you don't. The inner palace smells like powdered lotus and old secrets. You walk through halls so silent your footsteps sound like thunder. Then the chamber. The Empress Dowager reclines on a raised couch, flanked by two silent maids. She looks old enough to remember dynasties you only read about in chants. Her face is powdered white. Her eyes are sharp, predatory. You kneel so low your forehead touches the cold tile. She says nothing for what feels like an hour. Finally, she speaks. You have small hands. That's good. She gestures to a table covered in silk garments. You will fold these. That's all. Just folding. But you know better. Every movement is watched. Every crease is measured. As you work, she watches without blinking. A servant coughs. She raises a finger. The room freezes. The servant bows and withdraws. You feel your own breath slow, as if inhaling too loudly might end your life. One fold is crooked, just barely. Her voice cuts through the air. Are you careless or stupid? You drop into a full kowtow. Forgive this worm, you whisper. That's the right phrase. You were taught it on day 3. She stares, then chuckles. At least you know what you are. Her attention shifts. You survive. For now. Historians still argue whether the Dowager Empress truly ruled behind the curtain or was merely a figurehead. You don't care. She rules this room, this moment, this breath. By evening, your hands tremble from folding the same sleeve 50 times. You're dismissed without acknowledgement. Back through 5 gates, back to the world of dirt and steam. Chifu waits. He doesn't ask what happened. He just says, you will return tomorrow. That night, your straw mat feels colder than usual. You dream of folding your own skin until it disappears. The next morning, your fingers are stiff. You can barely grip your rag, yet you still polish Chief Wu's lacquer cabinet before leaving for the inner palace. He doesn't thank you. He never does, but he notices. That's enough. You return to the Dowager Empress's chamber, the same cold tile, the same powdered scent, the same impossible silence. She does not look at you today. She speaks to one of her maids instead, listing names of court officials in a tone as smooth as worm oil. You fold in rhythm to her voice, sensing your movements to her cadence, as if the folds in silk could hide your terror. Midway through, she waves a hand. Bring him closer. You freeze. A maid nods at you. You step forward, eyes down. The Empress holds out her hand. Massage it. Her fingers are thin but strong. As you press into her palm, she studies your face. You don't dare meet her eyes. You've stopped shaking, she says. Yes, Your Majesty, you whisper. Do you know why I keep you? No, Your Majesty. She smiles slightly. Neither do I. That's the fun of it. Historians still debate whether the Empress's cruelty was personal or performative. You feel it's both. Her mind is sharp enough to cut silk and dull enough to forget your name. Your sessions become routine. Fold, massage, fold again. You learn the weight of her silence, the tempo of her sighs. You learn to detect danger by the twitch of a finger. One day, she tells you to recite poetry. You falter on a line. She hums, not displeased. Don't worry. The dead poets won't mind. Another day, she throws a tea bowl across the room. It shatters at your feet. You bow and sweep it in silence. The servants never help. They watch you like an animal in a cage, wondering if this is your final performance. In the evenings, you return to the dormitory like a ghost in skin. Yao doesn't ask questions anymore, but he sits closer now. Maybe in case you vanish next. You begin to forget your old chores. The smell of laundry soap fades. You no longer wince at loud sounds. Instead, you flinch at silence. One night, a new boy in the dorm asks why you come back so late. Yao answers for you. He folds the dragon's wings. You don't correct him. It's easier that way. The cold deepens. Your breath now smokes in the mornings. The stone floor in the Empress's chamber steals heat from your knees. Even the silk robes seem thinner, unable to keep out the creeping winter. You're folding again when she asks, do you think the Emperor loves me? You freeze mid-crease. It's a trap. Everyone knows the Emperor barely visits her now. She hasn't seen him in months. Your mind races. You whisper, "His Majesty is surely grateful for your guidance." She snorts. Gratitude is not love. She stares at a painted crane on the wall for so long, you think she's forgotten you. Then she adds, "But perhaps it's enough." From that day, she speaks more often. Not to you, but near you. Ramblings, memories, names you don't recognize. One day she speaks of a girl named Anne Lee who braided her hair with coral pins. Another day she whispers, "The eunuchs used to sing." Historians still argue whether the Dowager Empress suffered from senility or loneliness. You suspect both are true. Her power is vast, but the walls of her world grow smaller each day. One afternoon, you're ordered to bring tea, not pour, just carry, a simple task. But your fingers, chapped and shaking, betray you. The lid tilts. A few drops splash onto the tray. She sees. The room freezes. A maid gasps. You kneel instantly, forehead pressed to the cold stone. You do not beg. Begging only makes it slower. Minutes pass. Then she says, "The tray is uglier now." More honest, a pause. You may leave. You do not breathe until you're past the third gate. Back at the dormitory, you collapse. Yao presses a cloth to your forehead. "You're still alive," he says. Lucky or cursed. You want to laugh, but you cry instead. Later, Chief Wu summons you. His voice is calm but distant. "You are watched now," he says. "Do everything perfectly or disappear." You nod. You understand what that means. "Yes, master," he studies you. "Good, because tomorrow you will attend her evening prayers. Do not move unless spoken to. Do not breathe loudly. And if she cries, you never saw it. That night, you don't sleep. You fold and refold your robe in the dark, practicing stillness like it might save your life. The prayer chamber is unlike the others. It is circular, with walls painted deep crimson and lined with golden calligraphy. Incense burns constantly, thickening the air until every breath feels like a sip of perfume. A massive bronze censer stands at the center, carved with dragons that seem to coil in the smoke. You are told to kneel near the edge, not close, not far. Just enough to be forgotten. The Empress enters, carried on a palanquin. Her expression is unreadable. A monk chants softly beside her, voice rising and falling like a distant tide. You are not to look at either of them. For 2 hours, you do nothing. Not a blink, not a twitch. When your legs cramp, you focus on the floor's crackled tiles. When your stomach growls, you press your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Then you hear it. Not a sob, not a cry. Just the slightest tremble in the exhale. You do not react. You are stone. You are smoke. You are nothing. Historians still argue whether the imperial family's prayers were genuine devotion or political theater. You suspect hers are both. Maybe she cries for the gods. Maybe she cries because no one else will see. After the prayer ends, you help clear the offerings. Dried lotus petals, red candles burned down to ash. A tray of sweet plums untouched. You wonder if she ever eats anything sweet. You return the next night, and the next. Your legs grow stronger. Your stillness becomes effortless. But the trembling breath never goes away. It waits in the incense, hidden like a cracked pearl. One evening, after prayers, she beckons you forward. Her voice is soft. "Do you miss your mother?" You want to lie. But the truth is already in your chest. "Yes." She nods. "I used to too. Then I forgot her face." She waves you away. You retreat, heart thudding. That night, Yao notices your silence is different. He doesn't ask. He simply places his mat closer to yours. You lie awake, staring at the beams above, wondering how long it will take for you to forget your mother's face too. Winter strangles the forbidden city. Ice coats the eaves like brittle lace. The ponds have frozen over, turning koi fish into hidden ghosts beneath glass. You wear extra layers, but the chill creeps in through your sleeves, your sou'west, your breath. One morning, you are summoned earlier than usual. Chifu stands at the door, not speaking, just pointing. You follow, half awake, body stiff, mind racing. Today, you will help serve during an imperial audience. Not the emperor's, his brother's. You're scrubbed again. Your robe is upgraded, still plain, but less worn. Your hair is tightened painfully, and you are given slippers with wooden soles that click like tiny drums on marble floors. You are warned not to speak, not to make eye contact, not to stumble. Yao whispers before you leave. If he looks at you, bow twice. If he smiles, cry inside. You walk through open-air corridors where the wind cuts sharper than knives. Guards line the path, their armor steaming from their breath. Inside the hall, everything glows red and gold. Dragons curl around the pillars. Lanterns flicker. The prince enters. He is younger than you imagined. Thin, bored, eyes like polished obsidian. He speaks softly but quickly, giving orders to officials who bow low and answer in trembles. You serve tea, careful not to rattle the porcelain. When you back away, your heart pounds in your ears. You count your breaths. Suddenly, a voice calls. You, the small one. You freeze, then kneel. Yes, your highness. He studies you. You were at the empress's side? Yes, your highness. Do you enjoy it? You hesitate. It is my honor. He smiles. It does not reach his eyes. Good answer. Historians still argue whether this prince sought power or merely played at it. He ruled no armies. Yet his words cut like blades. You are dismissed, but now you are noticed. Chifu says nothing, but his jaw clenches. That night, you lie awake. Not from fear, from calculation. In the Forbidden City, attention is not just dangerous, it's currency. And you've just been handed a coin you never asked for. Your days grow heavier, not with labor, but with eyes. Everyone watches you now. Senior eunuchs whisper when you pass. Maids look twice, guards nod slightly, not in respect, but recognition. You're becoming a name in a place where names are dangerous. Chifu increases your duties. You now polish bronze dragons in the Hall of Eternal Light, replace incense coils in the Temple of Pure Fragrance, and carry sealed notes between courtyards. None are addressed to you, but all could cost your life. He tells you, if a seal is cracked, you will not be missed. You nod. One afternoon, the Dowager Empress dismisses her court early. She waves for you to stay. The room empties like a tide. You stand alone. She looks at you, long and hard. Tell me, she says, why do you think they fear me? You answer without thinking. Because you survived them all? She laughs. A dry sound like parchment torn in half. You're smarter than most, she says. But don't let it show. She gives you a tiny jade comb. Bury this in the garden by the magnolia tree. Tonight, no one must see. You take it with trembling hands. Historians still argue whether the Empress Dowager trafficked in charms, omens, or secret messages. You don't know what the comb means. But you know not to ask. That night, you sneak to the magnolia tree. Its branches are bare, claws scraping the sky. You dig with your fingers, bury the comb, and wipe your hands with frost-covered leaves. When you return, Wu is waiting. He says, did she give it to you? You hesitate. Lying is worse than disobedience, he says. Yes, he nods. Good, that means she trusts you now. You ask, is that safe? Wu almost smiles. Nothing in this city is. That night, Yao asks why you're bleeding from the nails. You shake your head. He doesn't push. You both sleep facing the door. Snow falls silently over the Forbidden City, blanketing its secrets under layers of white. The rooftops glisten like frozen scrolls, and every footstep leaves a trace that feels too loud. You are sent on more errands now. Sometimes to deliver folded robes, sometimes to relay spoken words. Each time you are watched. By someone. From somewhere, you feel the weight of eyes even when the halls are empty. One day, Chief Wu hands you a letter sealed with red wax. Deliver it to the eunuch outside the Hall of Literary Brilliance. Say nothing. Do not open it. Do not run. You hold it like a snake. As you cross the compound, a figure blocks your way. It's the prince, the emperor's brother, the one who smiled without warmth. He eyes the letter, another secret from our holy widow. You kneel, silent. He waves his hand. Never mind, go. You walk faster. Historians still argue whether factions within the palace plotted against each other constantly or merely postured. To you, the answer is obvious. Everything here is a knife, waiting for the right moment to turn. Later that day, the Empress Dowager is silent during prayers. Not calm tense. Her hand tightens on the beads. Her eyes don't blink. When you serve her tea, she takes it without looking. You kneel beside the incense burner. A flicker of movement catches your eye. One of the monk's attendants slips something under a mat. You keep your face still. After prayers, as the hall clears, she says, softly, "Do you trust me?" You don't know how to answer. She smiles. Of course you don't. Good. You may go. That night, a knock on the dormitory door. Guards enter. They speak to no one, search no one, but their presence alone is enough. Fear spreads like ink in water. After they leave, Yao whispers, "Someone's going to vanish tonight." You lie awake, every creak outside the wall sounding like the end. Morning comes. Your mat is still there. So is Yao's. But the boy beside the door? Gone. You begin to learn how silence works as currency. You keep your head low, your words fewer, your movements smaller. You are present but invisible, like the breeze that moves through the palace without being seen. The Empress Dowager grows quieter each day. She no longer comments on your folding. She doesn't offer cryptic jokes. She merely watches the incense, eyes fixed on some memory that will not leave her alone. Then one morning, she speaks. They think I'm weak. You don't answer. They think age dulls the blade, but rust cuts deeper than they remember. That afternoon, you are sent to deliver a parcel to the Ministry of Rights. A short walk through a quiet corridor. As you turn a corner, two officials argue behind a screen. She knows. One hisses, "Why else bury the jade under the magnolia?" You stop. "She doesn't act," says the other, which means we still have time. You walk away before they see you. Historians still debate whether the jade comb was a symbol of resistance or an offer of truce. What matters is that you were the messenger. Back in the prayer hall, the monk's attendant who hid the object is gone. A new one stands in his place, older and too polite. During prayers, the Empress doesn't move. Her lips don't whisper, but her fingers drum the beads, a rhythm that seems deliberate. You copy the rhythm that night on your straw mat. Yao asks what it means. "Maybe it's a warning," you say. "Maybe it's a countdown," he replies. That evening, Chief Wu visits the dormitory. He calls you out alone, takes you through a hallway you've never seen, into a cold room lit by a single lantern. There sits the prince. He motions for you to approach. You kneel. "Do you know why you're here?" "No, Your Highness." He leans forward. "You've seen too much. You're either useful or dangerous." You wait. He smiles. "We'll find out which one." You were given a new robe, slightly finer fabric, a deeper blue. It marks you not as noble, but as attached to someone powerful. In the Forbidden City, that's more dangerous than being invisible. Your assignments shift. No longer just folding and errands. Now you observe, report, record. The prince calls it helping the rhythm of the court. Chief Wu calls it surviving with value. Your first task, attend a gathering in the Hall of Quiet Clouds. Officials from 3 ministries meet for tea and calligraphy. You are told to stand at the edge, refill brushes, replace inkstones, and listen. They speak in soft tones, but what they say cuts deep. promotions bartered like chickens, accusations veiled behind poetry. One man says, "The frost this year touches even dragon scales." Everyone laughs. You don't. That night, you report the full conversation to Wu. He asks for tone, posture, who laughed and who didn't. You remember it all. He nods once. Keep listening. Yao watches you differently now. Not with suspicion, something closer to fear. You are no longer just surviving. You're participating. One morning, the Empress Dowager summons you again. Her eyes are distant, her voice low. Do you know what kind of bird sings before a storm? You shake your head. The kind that disappears when the lightning comes. She hands you a scroll. Deliver this to the Temple of Secluded Enlightenment. Leave it on the altar. Do not speak to the monks. The temple is quiet, cold. The monk at the gate stares too long. You bow and walk past him. On the altar, you see 2 other scrolls, identical in color and ribbon. You leave yours. On the way out, the monk mutters, "Too many birds singing lately." Back at the dormitory, Yao doesn't ask where you've been, but he leaves a warm cloth folded at your place. You hold it in silence, the way people hold hands in the dark. Snowmelt turns the palace courtyards to slick stone and icy puddles. The magnolia tree, where you once buried jade, shows the first signs of budding. But the air remains heavy, like everyone is holding their breath. Chief Wu calls you aside. "The Emperor will walk the southern pavilion tomorrow," he says. "You will be stationed nearby." You freeze. No eunuch sees the Emperor up close without purpose, and purpose always means danger. He continues, "Say nothing. Do not bow unless he stops. Do not smile. If he speaks, listen. If he looks at you, lower your eyes. If he touches his sleeve, leave. The rules are not for ceremony. They're for survival." That morning, you stand beside a carved column, eyes on the flagstones. The Emperor arrives like mist, no trumpets, no entourage. Just him and the sound of his footsteps, slower than expected. Barely a whisper. He passes by, pauses. You sense his gaze before you see it, a shadow falling over your shoulder. Then, you are the one she favors. A statement, not a question. You kneel, slow and low. She says you're quiet. You nod once. Good. He walks on. Historians still argue what kind of man this emperor was: scholar, tyrant, ghost. You now think, maybe just a man, buried alive in gold. Afterward, Chief Wu says nothing. But that night, your robe is washed by someone else, and your rice bowl is filled to the top. Yao watches with unreadable eyes. "You're part of something now," he says. "Do you even know what?" You don't, but you know it has teeth. That evening, the Empress Dowager speaks during prayers. "Loyalty is a coin," she murmurs. "Spend it too soon and you starve. Hoard it too long and it rots." She doesn't say who she means. Maybe everyone. The palace pulses with quiet tension. Something is shifting, though no one says it aloud. Guards reposition more often. Couriers run faster. Lanterns stay lit longer into the night. One morning, Wu enters the dormitory. His voice is flat. "You will escort the Empress Dowager to the Garden of Divine Fragrance." "No one else." You nod. The garden lies beyond 7 gates, where peonies grow like secrets and koi shimmer beneath ice-cracked ponds. The Empress walks slowly, leaning on her cane. You trail behind, silent but present. She stops near a stone bridge. "I first came here as a girl. The Emperor then was cruel, not like now. That cruelty was simpler." She turns to face you. "I chose you because you reminded me of a mirror, polished, reflective, empty." She hands you a folded paper. "You must give this to the prince. If you read it, I will know. And if he reads it aloud, run." She walks on. That night, you deliver the paper. The prince receives it with a smirk. He does not open it. He does not speak. You leave before your knees fail. The next morning, bells ring before sunrise. Too many bells. Yao grabs your arm. They're locking gates. You move fast. Hallways are blocked. Eunuchs whisper. Some vanish. You cling to shadows until you find Wu. He says only one word. Hide. You do. Behind curtains, under stairs, in crawl spaces, you hear shouting. A scream, then silence. By dusk, the palace is calm again. That evening, Chief Wu finds you. His face is pale. She's gone, he says, not dead, just removed. You nod numb. She left a message. You lasted 1 day longer than they expected. He puts a hand on your shoulder. Now forget her. You do not sleep that night. You lie on your mat, wide-eyed, while Yao breathes softly beside you. Tomorrow, the palace will go on, and you, whatever you are now, will go with it. The night stretches long across the rooftops of the Forbidden City, softening its sharp lines beneath a blanket of pale moonlight. The bells have quieted. The corridors are still. Even the koi beneath the cracked ice seem to sleep now. You lie on your straw mat, eyes open, body still. The world no longer feels as loud, but neither does it feel safe. There's a quiet to this place that sinks into your bones, not peaceful, but permanent. Your hands are no longer soft. The robe you wear is no longer borrowed. You belong to the palace now, not as a servant, not as a person, but as a thread in the endless fabric of its silence. Somewhere magnolia buds are pushing through frozen bark. Somewhere the prince sits at a window, unread letters gathering dust. And somewhere, perhaps far beyond the walls, a mother wakes in the dark, wondering what became of the son she once held. You will not cry. The days ahead will come the way they always do, slow and merciless. You will bow when told, speak when needed, listen when no one asks. Your name will fade, but your presence will linger, tucked into shadows, breathing beside secrets. This is survival, not triumph, but it is yours. Tonight, the air is still, no orders. No footsteps, no watchers. You close your eyes. Your chest rises slowly. Your limbs uncurl just slightly. The silence does not feel so sharp now. It wraps around you like a cloak, cold but familiar. You do not sleep easily, but you rest, and that is enough.